So yeah, good job with pronouncing my name as well. So Sri Lankans have very lengthy surnames. You will get used to it, but he's doing a great job. So let's give him a round of applause first. Right. All right, so yeah, like you said, I'm Lashan. I'm from the WS02 Solutions Architecture team. And one major part of my role is to build digital solutions using the WS02 technologies. So yeah, the background, it's a rock. It's a rock from Sri Lanka. It's actually a rock fortress. It's a rock fortress built on top of a 200-meter tall granite rock. It's called Sigiriya, Sigiriya. I mean, it has gardens, water fountains, frescoes, quite a piece of work, right? And I find it quite amazing, and then that's quite inspiring as well. So I wanted to bring a little bit of inspiration from Sri Lanka before we get started, right? And this is the first time I'm in Kenya. Your country is amazing. We just visited the Kenya National Park. We spent a day there. Wow, what a country you have. So well done, Kenya, and thank you so much for having us here. And you know, it's a great, you know, honor to you know, share these discussions, share these experiences, hear to your stories, hear to our customer stories. So thank you so much. Let's get started. So Dinal mentioned about, you know, about WSO2, and he said we are a product company. That's correct. We are actually a tool building company. When we say products, our products are tools for software developers, programmers, DevOps engineers, for various IT stakeholders to make their lives easier, right? So we focus on three main areas, as you can see on the left-hand side. API management, integration, and identity and access management. So I'll cover a little bit, you know, given the interest of time, I'll try to touch API management and integration. My friend Geetika will talk about identity and access management, and he'll talk, right? So Sibyl also mentioned about these products. The ones you see on your left-hand side, those are the tools that you can download and install, like deploy, based on your preference. It can be on-premise, it can be on cloud, it can be VM, it can be Kubernetes, however you want it. So you can download the product, you can deploy it the way you want, and you will basically have a platform to get all these things sorted, right? So totally fine doing that, and we have, you know, huge amounts of customers doing that. But if you don't want to manage a platform, if you don't want to, you know, go through the complexities of you know, cloud solutions, you don't want to do CI/CD, but you want to focus on your applications, on your business logic. For that, we provide a platform that's Choreo, right? And we say it's platformless because we manage the platform. You don't have to worry about anything. You just add your developers, they build the application logic. We take care about everything else, CI/CD, scaling, everything else is taken care of. Asgari is also there. It's also a platform, a SaaS platform. And like I said, it addresses the IAM requirements or the IAM space. And my colleague will talk more about this. So let's talk about integrations and APIs. I wanted to, you know, add this very ugly picture, but this is like a very generic footprint that we see, regardless of the industry vertical, regardless of the digital solution you have. So what will happen is you will have different stakeholders, and these different stakeholders will use different channels, different applications to access your digital services, your digital solutions, and they will be powered through various software components, various core components. There can be internal systems, external systems, managed by you, managed by someone else, cloud systems, file systems, databases, message brokers, some schedule tasks, right? So just to get an idea, if we take an example of a bank, the stakeholders would be consumers, employees, just, you know, at a very high level. Then consumers will be consuming the banking services through ATMs, mobile banking, internet banking, USSD, digital wallet, P2P, agent banking. Likewise, there'll be many, right? And from an employee point of view, these are banking employees, the workforce. So they'll access the core banking software, loan origination systems, risk management, document management, certain internal communications. So these are actually provided through the core components. So core components might be core banking, certain wrappers you have written, leasing systems, credit card systems, CRM, human resource management, KYC, anti-money laundering, compliance or regulatory systems, data analytics, internal systems. So there'll be a lot, right? This is just to give you an idea. I know there's a lot of banking professionals here, and I know that you can, keep on extending this, this ugly diagram, and keep on adding stuff here, right? And if you take something like governments, if you take something like G2C requirements, government to citizens, obviously the stakeholders will be first the citizens, and then the various government institutes. But it's not only that. There'll be NGOs, there'll be private service providers, technology providers, there can be educational institutes like universities doing research. So likewise, there'll be a bunch of stakeholders expecting, digital channels to consume these services that we have to provide G2C use cases. And the channels will be websites, mobile apps, online portals, social media, email, and these are powered through certain portals, delivery systems, payment systems, document management, CRM, analytics, feedback and survey systems. So why am I showing this, right? In order to provide the digital experiences to the various stakeholders, we need to interconnect these things, right? That's where integration comes into the picture, because there'll be, these might be independently developed systems which siloed data, right? And we say data is gold, but it's not actually data that's gold, but the data that is being used, right? So to use data, we definitely need to do some integrations. That's where, WSO2 comes into the picture. I'll extend a little bit more as well, but this is just to give a very high level, information about what we are looking at in terms of integration, right? So if I go to the next slide, as I said, so there'll be various different systems. If you take, two things, system A and system B. Let's say system A works with protocol A, dataset A, message type A. System B works with protocol B, message type B, dataset B, right? So in order for these two systems to interconnect and to provide a more meaningful, outcome, definitely there has to be some integration, right? There has to be some connection between these two. Then that's where the data will be used. Otherwise, it will be just data that's hanging in there, and probably there will be some manual work as well to interconnect these two systems together. So to streamline workforce and to reduce manual efforts, and to minimize errors, we need integrations, right? And then this is a very, very generic problem. So it's a programming problem. You get a programmer, you figure out a programming language or a programming framework. You give them some time, they'll figure it out. They'll figure out how to implement this connection and how to allow these systems to work together. But the problem is, it's never just two systems. It's never just one connection. It will keep on growing, right? Being an enterprise, you will not have the same set of digital infrastructure. You will innovate. You will try to provide more and more efficient digital experiences. You will have to compete with your competition. To do that, you will definitely keep on adding systems, and your connections between these systems will grow on. And if you are maintaining point-to-point integrations using various different technologies, you will have multiple problems. The first one is now you will have to maintain all these connections. You will have to maintain the people who know these integrations as well. If they are built using different technologies, you will have to maintain channels to manage these various different technologies as well, right? And this is a exponential problem. That's why we say, because as the number of applications or the systems grow, you will have to grow the number of connections as well. And like I said, if the integrations are point to point, there'll be low visibility. It will be hard for us to manage, and basically it will be hard for us to innovate as well, because we don't know what to do, right? We can't figure out if something is wrong. We can't figure out where exactly the problem is, right? So this is the problem that we address using integrations, and specifically using the WSO2 integration and the API management stack. So why I say integration, I think it's pretty clear. Why I say API management is, now these integrations are built as APIs, right? So when we have APIs, that's when we need to maintain life cycles. That's when we implement new versions. That's where we monetize APIs. So we need to consider those things as well, right? And when you standardize your development, it makes it easier for the developers to maintain, and it allows you the flexibility and the visibility to innovate as well. That's the idea, right? I hope it's clear, but if there are any questions, we can definitely discuss and then have conversations. So again, to summarize it, like I said, integration is a programming problem, right? You can try to solve it using any common tool, any common language, right? But if you use an integration tool, and if you use the WSO2 integration platform, you will get a lot of benefits, because we provide low-code integrations. So if there's an integration, how I would explain, let's say I implemented an integration, right? Now I want to explain that to someone. What I will do is I'll draw something, right? By the way, there's a flip chart if someone wants to use it, and this is a very interactive session, so someone using the flip chart for the first time will also get a prize. I'm just kidding, but we can think about it, right? So what I will do is to explain my integration. I'll draw the component, I'll draw the various components, and I'll draw lines. I'll say, okay, the message comes from this component, it connects with this, then I split the message, I send one to one endpoint, another message to another endpoint, then I aggregate it. So I basically draw a diagram and explain it, right? That's easier for someone to understand. So what happens with the WSO2 technologies is, while designing the integration, you will automatically develop a diagram. That's your integration. So using the low-code features, you will drag and drop development units, and that will automatically build your integration. And whenever you want to go into the actual code, you can do that as well. So if you are familiar with the code, the language, or the underlying engine, you can get into the code and do development as well, and the picture will get updated. So that's one of the benefits. And we have a huge amount of ready-to-use connectors as well. So now we have been doing this integration for almost 2 decades now, right? So the protocol that you are trying to interconnect, the system that you are trying to interconnect, the message type, the chances of us having that integration sorted out already, it's very high, right? So you can use the connectors, you can use the templates, and also the architecture of the product is also very extensible. It's open source as well, so we can write extensions, customizations whenever needed. So you will get all these benefits when you use an integration technology, right? So if I go to the next slide, now all these integrations to happen, there should be APIs, right? APIs are the way to interconnect various different software components. So modern applications, they come with APIs. They will have APIs, and then you will have the capability of building APIs. But if it's legacy or old monolithic type applications, then there might not be APIs, right? So no APIs means no integrations. Whatever I said earlier, that will not be possible if there are no APIs, right? But the WSO2 technologies will allow you to build data services as APIs while accessing the source systems. These might be databases, various file systems, various forms of sheets, CSV, text. So we can process all these very easily, again, just by doing configurations and build APIs. Then we can allow certain integrations to be connected through these APIs. So that's also one of the key highlights that we have. I wanted to use this very high-level use case, again coming from a banking sector, from the banking sector. So let's say your consumers are using mobile application or internet banking to apply loans, right? So the first thing is the request should come to the loan management system, then the core banking systems and the wrappers and the CRM should interconnect and then figure out whether the loan should be provided, right? So if you have siloed, independently built platforms, obviously using the WSO2 technologies, we can solve this, right? But again, there are different ways to look at it, and this is a very high-level example. Maybe your core banking system already addresses this, right? But the requirement, like I mentioned, to innovate and to give better digital experiences, at some point you will try to involve other components as well. Those might be your credit scoring services, document verification services, your fraud management systems, right? You will try to interconnect these things for the reasons I mentioned, to reduce the manual work, to reduce the errors, to streamline your flows. So you can use the integration technologies for these requirements as well. And obviously, like I said, whenever a new system needs to be included, if you have a standard integration problem, you will be sorted. Like now you don't have to worry about the protocols, message types, extensions. All those things are there. It's just a matter of the development, right? Otherwise, you will have to figure out the various programming technologies, the frameworks. But once you have the platform, you can use it basically. So that's a very reactive way of looking at it. But we can go another step forward as well. So upon providing these features through internet banking or the mobile banking, which are the channels that you already have, we can look into integrating with various other platforms as well. For example, imagine a user trying to apply for a loan using social media, right? So that can be done through the integration technologies. Again, this happens through APIs. Then you will have to think about securing those APIs. You will have to think about limiting the number of requests. You will have to think about getting analytics. All these things can be sorted. Then there are other initiatives as well that you can think about. So open banking is there. Open banking is an initiative from Open Data to allow various organizations to collaboratively work, right? So we have an open banking solution as well, which we can apply for certain regions like the UK, the European region, Australia. Those regions already have open banking. And if you are, an organization which needs open banking, we'll have that. This is powered through the core technologies that we mentioned. But again, open banking is not just limited to that. It's all about, making your data open in a secure way. And there's API marketplaces. So you can, expose your APIs externally so that other platforms can be integrated. We have, various customers across the globe building API marketplaces or API manager developer portals for application developers to figure out the APIs that you have and to integrate their applications with you. Basically, to do more B2B scenarios, right? And to facilitate that, we have the platform, right? So these are some of the things that we can do. I just wanted to, again, provide a very high-level use case. I'm pretty sure the banking professionals can extend this and then figure out how exactly their use cases can fit into some sort of a use case that is similar. And yeah. So what I said is we had this this ugly diagram. So we can streamline this properly using the integrations by building APIs and doing proper API management. And then for all those requirements, we can use the WSO2 product stack, right? And if I go to the next slide, so when I say the product stack, in terms of integration, we have a bunch of options. We have various options. First one, the micro integrator, a very lightweight, a very robust tool, which is actually which is actually coming from the origins of WSO2. As a company, we started with an ESB tool. So it has evolved into this micro integrator, right? You can download it, deploy it, microservices, centralized ESB, anything, right? And the low code, the diagram that I explained, you can build it using this. WSO2 being an integration company and having all these experiences throughout all these years, we have implemented a language, a programming language called Ballerina, which is specifically focused on integration, right? So connecting to an endpoint, processing a response, processing JSON, XML, these things are first-class elements in this programming language, and you will get the visual feel, or the developer to build these integrations using the visual tooling components with Ballerina as well. Then we have Choreo, which I mentioned earlier about going platformless, right? So Choreo is a SaaS platform. Whatever you implement using the micro integrator, Ballerina, we can host it in Choreo. Choreo will take care of CI/CD, secret management, config management, environments. Those things will be sorted. But it's not just micro integrator or Ballerina. Like I said, integration is a programming problem, right? So you can use any programming language, Java, PHP, Python, and build the integration. Just worry about the integration. Everything else, Choreo will take care. That's the idea, right? And in terms of API management, again, we have three main products. The API manager, which is one of our most prominent products, I would say. You can, simply install it anywhere, and you can import your APIs, whatever you have. It doesn't have to be WSO2 built APIs. Whatever your APIs are, if they are, specified using an open API, you can import it. Or even if it's not a standard API, if it's a legacy API, you can create the API using the UI, the portals that we have, and get that onboarded into WSO2. Then apply elements like API security, rate limiting APIs, then monetizing APIs, building marketplaces, all those things that I mentioned. Versioning APIs, doing lifecycle management, everything, right? So then API platform for Kubernetes, also known as APK. That's our latest addition. That's our baby, actually. And then there'll be we just did a release last year. There'll be another release in the next few months, probably next month. So this is a platform to do API management the Kubernetes way. So we see organizations, doing their services also hosting their services also in Kubernetes, and they need to have a platform which can do the API management part in the Kubernetes cluster itself, right? Or just sitting next to the Kubernetes cluster. So if that's a requirement, and if you want to do API management in the Kubernetes way, we have APK. And Choreo, the platformless platform that I mentioned, it will give you API management, just as you build something. It's built into the platform itself. So all API management features that you need are already there in Choreo. So we discussed about bringing in integration and then APIs into the picture. But we can extend this by adding identity and access management as well. So we have identity and access management products, and the API manager, especially the API manager, can work very well with the identity and access manager, and whatever the advanced security that you need will be covered through that. For example, if you want FAPI compliancy, financial grade API compliancy, to make sure that your APIs are really secured, we can use that. So I'm not going to talk a lot. Geetika is looking at me because Geetika will talk about identity and access management, right? Then I'll very quickly tell about Choreo, the actual problem that we solve in Choreo, and we call it as going platformless. Choreo is an internal developer platform to effortlessly build, deploy, monitor, and manage your cloud-native applications. So this is not just APIs and integrations, it's applications, right? It includes front ends, back ends, everything, right? So what happens is, now when application developers start their inception with a concept, when they start building an application, they'll do that, and they'll start the code. But for the code to actually be in production and for it to actually give a digital experience to the customer or the employee or whatever the stakeholder that is, there's a lot that needs to be done, right? So we have to think about, if it's Kubernetes, we have to think about containerization, Kubernetes. We have to think about maintaining environments. We have to think about the cloud solutions. We have to think about CI/CD, GitOps, config management. Then the actual development is there. We have to manage versions. We have to maybe build microservices if you are doing microservices architecture. Then we have the whole API management layer. Then we have the security layer. Then we have to think about observability, logs, tracing, metrics, and we have to think about the analytics part as well, right? So using our tools, of course, you can build your own platform to do that. And as I said earlier, if you don't prefer doing or maintaining your own platform, you can select Choreo. Choreo will take care of all the complexities that we see here, right? So to show that in a picture, what you will do is what you see in these light blue boxes. So you will design the application architecture and then basically start coding. You will build microservices, integrations, APIs, and then you will commit your code into a source code management system like GitHub. And then Choreo will pick that up. It will do the build. It will, containerize it. It will deploy it in a scalable manner. And then you can, just do the configurations and integrate with a testing framework, deploy it in any cloud framework that you want, get analytics, API management is inbuilt. So these are all the things that you can get, right? Dinal mentioned about the code challenge, but he didn't really say what to do. So what you need to do is go to Choreo and build an application, including the front end and the back end, and use the features, use the Choreo features, right? The more features you use, the more chances you will have at winning the grand gift, right? So I wanted to add a customer story. Dinal also mentioned about this. Sibyl also mentioned about customer stories, but I actually wanted to add the WS02 story because everything that we as employees use, be the leave application system, travel management system, insurance claim system, all these applications, they are powered through WSO2 technologies. We write the integrations of the microservices using Ballerina. We host them in Choreo. They are secured using Asgardio. So this is the best story, and we experience the first-hand experience of WSO2, and we keep on improving. And we want the developers to experience the best experiences as well, right? With that, I think my session comes to an end. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer. I hope I didn't take too much time. I added this picture for a reason. These are actually Asian elephants, Sri Lankan elephants, because even though WSO2 is a global company, we are from Sri Lanka, I wanted to add this. So African elephants are different because they apparently have larger ears, which look like the Africa continent. These elephants, they have smaller ears. But that's just the elephants. We are all ears, so we are here to listen to your stories. We are here to, understand your problems and figure out how to address those, problems. So yeah, let's have a chat as well whenever there's time. Thank you so much.